Welcome to the Evolving Women podcast, where growth, healing, and empowerment aren't just ideas, they're a way of being. I'm Teresa Lisum, and in each episode, I'm joined by an extraordinary woman, one who is boldly shining her light in the world, one who is bringing her real life experience to each and every episode. And you'll be meeting my guest co host for today here shortly. She brings her heart centered wisdom and her powerful story to remind us all that we are not alone on this journey. This space is your permission to evolve, to expand, and to fully embody your most radiant, authentic self. So let's evolve together. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Evolving Women. I'm Teresa Lisum, and my guest co host today is Kate Goggin. Hi, Kate. Welcome back. This is episode 2. Make sure you go back and listen to episode 1 because we're talking about her book, 10 Little Rules When Good Jobs Go Bad. And it's little, but it's full of a lot of wisdom. You're really going to want to check it out. And it's applicable to other areas of your life beside the job path. But it follows her story, follows your story. I don't want to talk about you as if you're not here. It follows your story through your different jobs and your personal growth and the things you've picked up along the way. But we were talking a little bit about just the last couple of chapters seem to have been really impactful to women who are more mature and maybe in a different phase of life than someone who's like fresh out of college, and a younger person. So I'd love to hear what you have to share about those last 3 chapters.
Thank you.
Last 3 chapters, if I could talk, that'd be awesome.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. Yeah, the last 3 chapters, the titles are the takeaways from each chapter. So chapter 8 is Rise Above the Noise. Chapter 9 is Bet on Yourself. And chapter 10 is Embrace Uncertainty. And those 3 chapters are what we call rules, part of the 10 Little Rules title, are sort of the last bit of my career as I was making some really hard decisions about leaving full-time work, trying to pivot to contract work, working for myself, instead of standing in line waiting to be chosen for the promotion, maybe the management position that I wanted was really for myself. Those sorts of realizations were happening. And then right up to the very end of Bet on Yourself, where I had to make some hard decisions about is it finally time? It's now or never, right? It's late in life, and it's time to finally put it all on the line and give myself a chance. And that was when I was really starting to work on the book. And then the Embrace Uncertainty was this just giant leap of faith into the publishing world and the next chapter, so to speak. And these 3 chapters, seem to really be resonating with a lot of women who are either still in the game and considering leaving or retiring or transitioning into maybe their own business or their own side hustle or gig. And then also it's resonating with a lot of women and men who are looking back on their career and sort of, I wouldn't say making sense of their career. It's more like having a context for it. It's been helpful to them. And besides Amazon reviews and that sort of thing, I get a lot of personal messages from people. One from a journalist most recently, who's quite a successful journalist, who said, this book arrived at exactly the right time. And I'm so pleased and satisfied to be able to help people that way with my stories, and then the journal prompts at the end of each chapter that help them write their own rules and make their own decisions.
Yeah, thank you. We tend to be dismissive of our own stories, our own life's experience, our own wisdom that we've gleaned. I know that's true for myself. Like, yeah, who would want to hear about that? Or who would, what important thing could I teach somebody with that little minor incident? So, was that thoughts that you were having when you started this journey with this book? Like, did you think you had value to share, or did you not think that?
You're really hitting the nail on the head because I'm not a career counselor. Yet the stories that I collated for this book, really curated is a better word, um, are the stories that I use to informally mentor people. These are the stories that really resonated with people because
Hmm.
each of the chapters is really linked to what's happening in the headlines now and what folks are dealing with. Everything from, you know, being surprised with, being someone who was trying to fire me at the time. That's Claim Your Power. That's chapter 2, rule 2. Um, I was completely blindsided by that. Other items that are in the news are, forgive yourself the unknown. That's chapter 7, because we're always talking about, you can do all your research,
Yeah,
you can interview people at the company, you can, read all the reviews online, but you're
yeah,
only going to know 50% going into it. And the ultimate, I liken it to going on a blind date. You're just not going to know about this job unless you take it, unless you
right.
go. And then you have to decide whether or not it's in alignment with what you expected or what you wanted, and it may require a further pivot, which um, that happened a lot in my career. But just circling back to your question, these stories really helped a lot of people in informal mentoring, and it's through the storytelling and then the journal prompts where the reader can, write their own rules and create their own solutions, that it just seems to really be resonating with a lot of people. And um, I would call it, the category I would put it in would be, a memoir with a message.
Love that. That is great. And I applaud you and appreciate you being vulnerable enough to bring these stories to the public and put them in book form. I know you're already using them as part of your mentoring other people. It sounds like you were bringing these incidences forward so you could teach them to help them go through whatever they're going through. And now you've compiled them into a nifty little efficient book
Thank you.
that has so much in it. So I appreciate anybody who is willing to put their life out there in public. I mean, that's what we all do in some form or fashion, whether it be in a book or on social media or when we're in a group and we're giving our opinion. We have to have that vulnerability and trust in ourselves to see our value or what we're speaking as being valuable. I mean, that is something I struggled with for a long time. I didn't see my value enough to be able to speak my opinion or give my thoughts on something. And obviously I've totally changed that because I I do it all the time now, but it's a process. And again, I just so appreciate you doing that inside your book. So
Well,
thank
thank you.
you.
And in the introduction to the book, I speak a little bit about this, the fact that we bring our whole selves to the table, to the job, whether or not, we got into an argument with our husband before we came to work, whether or not we're late,
Mm-hmm.
but,
Yep. Yep.
all the life issues that surround us. And um, we can't really talk about it, right? That's one of the rules of business, is that you keep it to yourself and you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
compartmentalize and,
Yeah. Yep.
show up and be reliable and be responsible and that sort of thing. So what I was finding is that there's this undercurrent of, I call it, torture, where folks are really upset and they're really conflicted because they have this persona that they have to present, in the office, and then they have what's really going on in their lives. And so in the introduction, I speak to this in terms of my motivation for the whole book is to validate everyone's feelings. And
Mm,
that's been the such a joy. So many, messages and on social media and emails and Amazon reviews where folks are saying, thank you for acknowledging this private torture that we are all experiencing. And and the feelings that are conflicted, whether it's your own confidence or self-esteem or self-worth that you're working on while you're in the job,
mm-hmm.
or or it's the rules that you've been told all along, and whether or not those are holding up, and are you going to need to write your own rules, right? And going back to your question about the stories, the stories that we tell each other, and that you tell yourself,
Yep, yep.
it it it's very interesting how it's all evolved and changed over time now.
Yeah, and I've never been in corporate at all, so I really don't know what I have my ideas, I just from what I've heard over the years, but it's almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, as if feelings are not to be shared. They're not to be shown. They're, like you said, they're not validated. That you just get in there, you do the work, put in your hours, give us, be productive, give us all you can, and then your feelings and everything else, oh, you can open that door once you step out of our door, you know, and is that part of the problem in corporate, that they're like dismissive of the person and what's happening in their lives and what's going on in their head. And they're just, again, I don't know. I'm not placing any judgment. I'm just asking if I'm picking up on that right, or if I'm totally just making that up.
No, no, I think that's spot on. And yeah, now I think there's a lot of confusion. So there's now we're entering this whole era of confusion where maybe it was a bit more strict before, where you keep your feelings to yourself and your opinions and your what's happening in your personal life. Then the door is open to sharing that a little bit more and trying to make those decisions as a team or as a compassionate leader, that sort of thing. And now there's a lot of confusion about, well, what do I share and what don't I share, right? And what do I
Mm-hmm.
say and what don't I say, and how much can
Mm-hmm.
I share, and where's the line, and what happens. And yeah, I mean, you know, you might think this is an odd example, but I recently sent a book to Stephen Colbert, right? Who was
Ooh, cool.
very, very suddenly fired from his position, and is confused and has a lot of feelings about it, and is feeling quite I would say blindsided. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the chapters in the book here is chapter 2, rule 2, claim your power, where I was in the same situation, in the same it's the same feelings that are being
Mm.
validated, of being surprised and being blindsided in some choice that your organization is making, that you didn't see coming. So
Mm-hmm.
um, and I don't want to draw a parallel there about his reasons for departure. I just want to say that the bottom line is he's going to be looking for a job. And so
Just like everybody else that
exactly, and that's what I think will resonate. So
so it sounds like it doesn't matter what level of success you think somebody's at, they still have similar feelings. I've heard of people that I thought were at a really high level of success who seemed very confident in themselves, who seemed like they had it all together, But then I find out through conversations or whatever that, oh no, they're experiencing self-doubt. They're experiencing imposter syndrome. They're like doing all these, having all these feelings that I myself am going through or was going through, but yet I never would have thought that of them. Like, oh, like I thought you had all your crap together, but even though outwardly it looks like that, we need to remember that we're all dealing with something, some emotion, some situation, something. And we as outsiders should not assume otherwise.
Yes, exactly. Exactly that. And like I was saying, I do think it has evolved over time. And I do think that folks are still trying to find their way now, right? Because it's a whole new, more competitive, more difficult work world at the moment. But I think you made this point earlier, and I hope that readers find this as well. There's a lot of life skills in this book. There's a lot of little pearls of wisdom about,
For sure.
letting go of the outcome, and that could be in your work or it could be in your personal life as well. You only know that 50%, and if you let go of the outcome and you let go of that fear, wow, you might be surprised by the other 50%. It might be very positive.
Right. And trust yourself to navigate that 50% of uncertainty. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's part of my problem and other people's problem is, I don't want to call it a problem, but like I don't trust myself enough sometimes to know that, okay, whatever comes up, I'm going to be able to pivot. I'm going to be able to make some choices in the moment. Like we are fearful of that part. That's part of the fear is that 50% of uncertainty. And just verbalizing it here, I think is so helpful. Like, oh man, I'm going to try to really remember this and trust myself, go internally, have those thoughts for myself in a quiet space, and think about do some journaling prompts as you encourage in your book. You offer lots of journaling prompts, but just trusting ourselves and knowing that it's going to be okay and it's going to work out. And if it doesn't, you just pivot again. I think sometimes we think it's going to be a permanent path or a permanent job or a permanent situation. And it really isn't. It's always changing, as you said in your book. Change is a constant. Like the only thing that's constant is change. And I think we get complacent and we forget that.
Agree. And we're trying to control it, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yep.
like we're all just trying to whether it's good behavior or bad behavior, avoidance behavior, whatever, we're just trying to control it and steer it. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
spoke about how I was trying to keep it all in a straight line, and that didn't work out. And it really is a journey, and to view it as a journey is it really takes a lot of pressure off, and it really does make it much more enjoyable because your expectation is that, oh, I don't know what's around the bend. I don't know
Yeah, yeah.
I don't, if at this fork in the road, I don't know what the next valley is going to reveal to me. And it's much more enjoyable journey in my mind than trying to lasso it and trying to corral it into a straight line or any type of perceived control.
Right. Perceived. That's a big word. Perceived control. We think we have it under control, or we can control a particular whatever, and we really can't.
Yes,
We can only
yes,
control ourselves and our thoughts about it and our responses to it. But beyond that, there's nothing else that we can control.
yes, yes.
But
And I love your coaching philosophy and your focus on encouraging people, encouraging them based on their strengths. But I'm now getting to the point where I just feel like the greatest gift we can give each other is encouragement. And
mm,
it's free,
yeah, yeah,
give it away freely
yeah,
because
so
we
true.
all need it.
So true. And on that 50, I love this 50%. This is just, I don't want to keep going there, but just being open to that 50% of as being a new possibility, new opportunities. Like sometimes we go to the negative with that 50% of uncertainty. Like, why? Why not choose to go to the positive? And well, what if it does work out? What if it's the best thing ever? What if I meet the most, beautiful people? What if, a new door opens up or multiple doors? Like, spin that story instead of, oh, you know, what could go wrong? What could go
Right.
right instead? It's got such a nicer feel to it, so much less stress.
Well, what really resonates with me is something you said earlier, which is, whether or not we trust our intuition. And I think that also speaks to what you're saying is the fact that that moment when your intuition is saying, "Oh, wow, that would be such a great opportunity," you're not listening to it because your head kicks in and
Yes.
starts to analyze all the things that could go wrong and prepare. And I mean, yes, that's the way we make decisions. I get that, but I'm just saying that I've done that for a lifetime, and and now that I'm at a point in my life where I'm taking a moment to really sort of honor my intuition more, I'm making decisions that are much more satisfying. Let me put it that
Mm,
way.
love that. And you do allude to that in your book where you did not listen to your intuition and had to, I'm going to say, suffer the consequences because of that, or do a different type of pivoting because you didn't pay attention to that intuition.
Yes, completely agree. Have all the battle scars to prove that, and hopefully the lessons learned and the tools and some strategies to share with other people. So I'm grateful for that.
Certainly. There's so much, again, so much packed in this book. It would be worth our viewers' time to check it out, even though it's referencing Kate's job journey, your job journey. There's so much more in there. It's her jobs are the starting point, but her wisdom can be applied across the board to anybody in any situation. So I want to thank you so much for bringing all of that wisdom together in a book. And I'm excited to see what else is coming from you down the road, because I'm sure there will be. No doubt in
Oh,
my mind.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I do feel like I could write another book based on the last year since this published and all the lessons that I learned. It's been such a journey. I referenced in segment one about an illness that I have, and I can share with you, for example, this really tough life lesson that is related to the book publishing. So I happened to be in the ER at midnight on the evening night that the book was publishing.
Mm,
And, I'm in this terrible circumstance, but at the same time, something in my head was saying, oh, I looked at the clock and I was like, oh, I think at 12:01 after midnight, it's supposed to publish. And I
mm-hmm.
and I looked on my phone and there it was on Amazon. And the reason why I want to share that story is just that it was so clear to me. It was like getting a direct message from the universe that you really have to hold this good thing that's happening
Mm,
at
mm.
exactly the moment that this bad thing is happening.
Ooh.
It was such a life lesson, that moment of realization that, okay, this is it, this is what I'm supposed to learn. And
Oh, wow.
I was so grateful for it. So
Mm,
that was just the night that it published.
hmm.
Ever since then, it's been a journey of learning the publishing industry and learning the promotion industry. And yeah, it's been a great ride.
Man, I love that. Thank you so much. I was getting chills as you said that you had the awareness to realize that, oh, my book's publishing right now as we speak. in a, bad situation, but yet you had the awareness to something pulled you up out of that towards that positive realization. Ooh, I love
I
that. That's
Oh,
cool.
well, thank you so much. I wish I had that knowledge in so many jobs
Hmm.
because that's exactly what's happening all the time is this good and bad and holding it together at the same time and just understanding that, life in general is a mess and that um and embrace the mess.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's, hey, there's the title for your next book.
Mm, I I would love that.
And I
Mm,
think it comes with a stage in life. Like it just seems like everybody comes to that point,
mm.
whatever age that is for them. It could be earlier, later, wherever, where they have these realizations and they realize how awesome their life has been, or all these different points in their life and all this wisdom they've gleaned, and these life experiences have, brought them to where they're at, and now they want to do something with more intention or more awareness or following their intuition. But it just seems like we all seem to come to that point somewhere. And it's a liberating feeling, I think. Like I look at some younger people, like some of my kids, they're all adults now, but like, oh, I wouldn't want to be at that stage in life. I'm so glad I've lived through there, through that. I've survived. I can tell about it now, but
Right.
I'm so thrilled with where I'm at.
Oh, that's what a testament. Good for you. I mean, that's wow. That's so great. And I agree completely. I had participated in a conference recently, and the question was asked, what are how many springs do you have left in you, right? The
Mm,
season of spring.
mm, mm,
And when you really think about that, oh gosh, is it 10? Is it 20?
mm-hmm.
And you really think about it in those terms, oh, it'll put a fire under you.
Oh,
Really.
yeah. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. Whereas when you're
I
20, you're like, yeah, I got plenty of time. We think, and then
right.
as you move through life, like, oh, yeah, no. When they say it goes fast, believe it because it does. Like, I never would have thought I'd be at this age with adult kids and grandkids. Like, how did that even happen?
But I think the gratitude that you have is the fuel, right? That's what you're describing, and it's you have this fuel now, and then you have this what I call the clock ticking. I can hear the clock
Mm-hmm,
ticking
mm-hmm,
every day, and like I say, with this layer of life for me that I've had so many close calls, it's really ticking loudly in my mind.
mm-hmm,
And and I don't mean it in a panicked, anxious way. I just mean it in a grateful way that I want to maximize every single day and every
mm-hmm.
single encounter, if possible.
Love that. So love that. So for my call to action, I'm going to suggest everybody go grab this book. We'll
Oh,
leave links to it in the description, how you can get a hold of Kate. We will make sure that you have a way to do that. And I thank you so much for giving us some more of your time in the second episode. If you haven't already watched the first episode or listened to the first episode, I highly encourage you to go back and do that. I'll leave a link for that as well. And it's just been such a delight to have these conversations with you. There's so much more we could talk about, but we're
oh,
out of time. So thank you so much, Kate.
thank
Appreciate
you.
you. Appreciate
I
what you're doing out there in the world.
thank you. It's such an honor, and I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you feel a need or a desire to share this episode with others, please do so. Please subscribe to the entire series of Evolving Women and listen in on the other delightful, wonderful women that I get to talk with and play in this arena because this is so much fun for me. So I want to thank everybody for listening in. Thank you again, Kate, and we will
Thank
see everybody the next time. Bye
you.
bye.